Hello again. It is great to have you back in this channel. Moving forward in our journey to add healthy and vibrant years to our lives, we will continue to talk about nutrition. Nutrition is a major component in our health and also to extend our living expectation. This is a fascinating and large topic, and it is still developing as new research brings light on new and useful information. For most of the people out there, some of these concepts and elements are unknown or even appear to be written in a foreign language. In Live as Long as You Dare, Len Heflick makes it easy and fun to understand how to handle the concepts and elements that are relevant for you to know and understand, and that will help you build your own plan to reach your longevity goals. We are going to start by describing a group of food components that are essential for us to live. These are the calorie-containing foods. Calories is an energy unit of measure, so we should consider these as the fuel and the building blocks for our body. We will make this clear for you to understand what they are, how they work, and what to do about it. Yes, too much fuel can cause different problems if it comes in the wrong balance or the wrong quantity. It needs to be tailor-made for our needs, based on age, activity level, environmental characteristics, medical condition, and several other variables. Calorie-containing foods also work as building blocks for our body as they supply raw materials to build muscle, hair, tendons, nerves, veins, and virtually everything in your body. So first we need to understand what these food and nutrients are, how they work in your body, how your requirements change given your particular situation, and also learn about the different course of actions that you may take. Only then you will be equipped with all the elements to make your own plan and implement the correct changes in your life. Yes, there are some other type of foods. We will touch in the non-calorie-containing foods in a future delivery. For now we will deep dive in calorie-containing foods. Let's do this. There are only 3 kinds of calorie-containing nutrients: carbs, proteins, and fats. The unavoidable consequence of this is that if we want to reduce one, we will increase the others. Low-fat diets unavoidably increase the amount of protein and carbohydrates. There is nothing else to replace the fat we remove. This is one reason, for example, why low-fat diets don't work and are unhealthy long-term. Low-carb diets suffer from the same problem. A reasonable balance of the 3 types of nutrients is critical to digestion and good nutrition. We cannot be healthy without these 3 basic nutrients in proper balance. Proteins. This group of caloric-containing food, the proteins, are polymers of amino acids. There are 21 amino acids in the proteins that constitute the human body. 8 of these are essential, meaning that our bodies are not capable of producing them. Our bodies also have no way to store protein, so eating a high-protein meal today does us little good tomorrow. Any protein we ingest, that is in excess of what our bodies need today, will be converted into urea and excreted in our urine. Eating protein is a daily requirement. If we do not eat the right amounts of the right amino acids, we will not have the amino acids that we need, and the body will scavenge the amino acids needed for repair by breaking down muscle, resulting in muscle loss. In a sense, using muscle as a source of necessary amino acids is a sort of storage mechanism, but not one that we want to utilize. The easiest way to get a good balance of proteins is to eat a variety of different foods. Restrictive diets can make this difficult. Some protein sources are naturally balanced according to what our bodies need. Egg protein, for example, contains the most perfect balance of amino acids of any protein source. Milk, meats, fish, and soy are also well balanced to our needs. Other protein sources such as rice, beans, wheat, and corn contain a less perfect balance of amino acids. The balance of amino acids is expressed as a number called the protein efficiency ratio, PR. Egg protein, with a perfect balance of amino acids for human nutrition, has a PR of 1.0, wheat has a PR of 0.86, meaning that it is 86% efficient. We need to consume 1/0.86 or 1.16 grams of wheat protein to get the same benefit as 1 gram of egg protein. We can and should eat different kinds of foods with different protein efficiency ratios so that the deficiency in one food is compensated for by the excess in another. A classic example is eating beans and rice together. Rice is low in lysine, a required amino acid, while beans are high enough in lysine to compensate for the shortage when the two are consumed together. It's not that one protein source is good and another bad, but rather that some are more efficient than others, and combining different kinds can compensate for the imbalance. In the case of rice and beans, the result is that the body gets the amino acids it needs in proper balance from a diet that contains both protein sources. Basically, protein is the building block of muscle, and there is a minimum level of protein intake required to repair and build muscle. Too little protein can result in the body breaking down muscle to liberate the required protein. We don't want this to happen. Too much protein in the diet results in high uric acid content in the urine. This could be a benign consequence, unless we also have poor circulation in the extremities of the body like toes and fingers, in which case the uric acid could form tiny, sharp crystals in the tissues, causing gout, which is very painful. The dietary reference intake (GRI) for protein is 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight, or 54 grams for a 150-pound adult. Bodybuilders increase their protein intake up to 1 gram per pound of body weight in order to build muscle, or 225 grams for our 150-pound adult. As you can see, recommendations range from 54 grams up to 225 grams per day for a 150-pound adult. That is a wide range. Increasing protein in the diet also allows us to decrease fat and carb intake to moderate levels, which is a good direction to go, especially when we are trying to lose weight, reduce body fat, reduce stored intracellular fat, and reduce fat stored in the liver, with the goal of increasing insulin sensitivity. 20% of calories from protein in a 2,000-calorie daily diet is 100 grams of protein. This is a reasonable target. The second group of calorie-containing foods are the fats. Fats are used to build the walls of our cells. Fat is a required nutrient, meaning we would die if we stopped consuming fat. In addition, our bodies are not able to produce all of the kinds of fat that we need. For example, our brains are high in omega-3 fats, and since we are not able to produce certain required omega-3 fats, a shortage will have a serious impact on our health. Some of the less severe consequences of eating too little fat include dry skin and hair falling out. Fats contain 9 calories per gram, which is more than double the caloric content of protein and carbs at 4 calories per gram. Protein and carbs are almost never eaten dry. Most protein and carb-containing foods have over a 50% water content, which increases the weight of the food and decreases the caloric content, whereas fat absorbs no water and is often eaten as is, such as in butter or olive oil. Therefore, in order to control caloric intake, we want to be careful with how much fat we eat. A moderate and reasonable goal when trying to reduce or avoid excess stored body fat is for fats and oils to comprise about 20% of our caloric intake, which is 45 grams per day of a 2,000-calorie diet. Last, but not least, the third group of calorie-containing foods are the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are composed of sugar molecules linked together in different ways and in different patterns. Sugar, starch, cellulose, and dietary fibers are carbs. Some carbs can be broken down into sugar, while others cannot, passing into the intestines largely intact. There are many different kinds of sugars. The most common sugars are glucose and fructose. Glucose is found in corn syrup and in sucrose. Sucrose is a disaccharide, composed of 2 sugar molecules linked together, one glucose and one fructose molecule, making it half glucose and half fructose. Sucrose is found in cane and beet sugar and is what we know as table sugar. Glucose is the fuel that our bodies burn, and carbs are the only energy source we can metabolize directly to produce glucose. Protein and fats must be converted into glucose in order to provide energy. The basal requirement for a human is approximately 2,500 total calories per day. A bit of trivia is that this is equivalent to approximately 75 watts of electricity, so we burn about as much energy as a 75-watt incandescent light bulb. Or 15-watt LED bulbs. Fructose cannot be metabolized directly by the cells in the body and must first be converted into glucose. This happens in the liver, where there are enzymes to make this happen. Oddly, There is no good mechanism in the body to control the conversion of fructose into glucose versus storage as glycogen or fat, as there is for glucose. The result is that a substantial percentage of the fructose we consume is converted into glycogen and fat, specifically very low-density lipoproteins, VLDL. You probably have heard of LDL and HDL, which are fatty components in our blood. HDL is protective and LDL is destructive to arteries and veins. VLDL is even more damaging than LDL. This is how diets high in fructose are thought to contribute to heart disease. Fructose is in sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, and fruit sugar. HFCS is 55% fructose and 45% glucose, similar to sucrose. The sugar in apples, oranges, bananas, berries, etc. is almost pure fructose. Apples, oranges, or a banana contain 20 to 25 grams of sugar per fruit, mostly as fructose. The body can handle this amount of fructose safely. It is only when daily consumption of fructose goes higher than about 75 grams that there are issues with VLDLs. Don't forget that fructose is coming into your diet from several sources, including fruit, sucrose, and high fructose corn syrup. Plain corn syrup is pure glucose and not an issue. It is the best and most healthy sugar to consume. Starch is a polymer of glucose molecules. The process to break down starch into glucose begins in our mouths. Saliva contains amylase enzymes that immediately begin breaking down starch into glucose. In fact, if you keep a starchy food in your mouth, you will notice that it becomes sweeter with time. This is due to the breakdown of starch occurring in your mouth. Interestingly, trees are also made of glucose, but the glucose molecules in cellulose are linked together differently than in starch. Our intestines do not contain the enzyme necessary to digest cellulose and therefore we cannot eat trees. Termites live on wood but actually the bacteria in their guts digest the cellulose. Read a wonderful account of sugar production in plants in Lab Girl by Hope Jaron. Think about it, trees are actually giant candy canes. If you are keeping track of the calorie targets we've set for protein and fat, both at 20% of caloric intake, then you already know that our target for carbs will be the remainder, 60% of caloric intake. This represents 1,200 calories of our 2,000 calorie daily intake. At 4 calories per gram, this translates to 300 grams of carbs daily. This sounds like a lot, but remember that carbs are the fuel that run our body. The quantity of carbs consumed should be in balance with activity level. If you live a sedentary lifestyle, then you want to keep carbohydrate intake near the basal level of 300 to 350 grams per day. If you are a marathon runner, you need to eat more carbohydrates, or you will literally starve to death. The American Council on Exercise estimates that a 180-pound man will burn 17 calories per minute while running, so during a 3-hour marathon, a runner will burn 3,060 calories or 765 grams of carbohydrates. This is more than 10 times the normal daily basal requirement for a sedentary person of about 1.4 calories per minute. Getting this amount of energy from protein or fat will put tremendous strain on the liver and could cause ketosis, a dangerous imbalance of blood pH. When we ingest more carb calories than we need, the excess is converted into glycogen and fat, to be stored in anticipation of a time when we will need the extra calories. If that day never comes, meaning we eat multiple times a day, always taking in as many or more calories than we need, the fat just accumulates. We need to give our bodies an opportunity to remove some of the stored fat or we will become diabetic, overweight and eventually obese. Excess storage of fat in the liver and muscles blocks insulin receptor sites, one of the causes of insulin resistance and diabetes. Chronic overnutrition is a common cause of diabetes and the metabolic syndrome. Yes, as the Swedish say, all good things will be yours when you do the right thing. But what is that? What is the right thing to do? The answer to this is different for you, and for me. The only way to reach to a good conclusion on this, is to learn on the topic you are dealing with, understand how this can be applied, practiced and how it will benefit you given your particular situation, and start to advance progressively. Things will not come to us. We need to do something about it. That is why we have been recommending you to read Live as Long as You Dare. by Len Heflick, so you can make a good progress in the educational side of this. We also recommend that you review the other videos in this channel and start making your own decisions on what needs to change in your own daily routine. Remember, the book is available in Amazon. In future deliveries we will be sharing more information on nutrition. We hope this has provided you with useful information and can start doing small changes to improve your current health status and, in the future, add years to your life so you can live as long as you dare. Start today.